Howdy folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today we're going to make some dipped strawberries. Now we're going to do these so that they look as good or better than the ones that you would get that are professionally dipped. It's super easy and it will save you a ton of money. And not only that, doing it yourself lets the person that you give them to know just how special you think they are. You need some chocolate chips. I've got about a cup here and I'm just using semi-sweet chocolate chips today. You can mix them half semi-sweet and half milk chocolate if you'd like to. I wouldn't do all milk chocolate. Now, the semi-sweet's going to give you a harder, darker shell. The milk chocolate is going to make it slightly softer and a little sweeter. So you decide what you want. And I have about a tablespoon of coconut oil here. And you want about a tablespoon of either coconut oil or vegetable shortening per cup of chocolate chips. If you don't have that in there, your chocolate's not going to be thin enough to dip your strawberries in and get a nice coat on them. It's going to be it's just going to be too thick. And also this is going to make your chocolate really, really shiny. And that's all you have to have for the chocolate dipped strawberries. Now for decorating them, I've got a few white morsels over here, and I also have a tiny bit of coconut oil in that. And I've also got some sparkly red sugar and some sparkly gold sugar. Now, I know this doesn't help you now, but you can get this stuff after Christmas super, super cheap and save it for Valentine's Day. And it's just sugar, so it lasts for years. And I got a little bit of red food coloring because you can add a little bit of red food coloring into your white. You can use a white chocolate candy bar or any kind of white chocolate, white bacon bar. And you can do, you know, some pink. You're not going to get bright red, but you could do some pink stripes on your strawberries with that if you wanted to. Now you got to melt your chocolate. And I've just got a pot of water over here that I brought to a boil. You can melt it in the microwave. If you do it in a microwave, you want to be very, very careful. Do it for 1 minute and stir it. And then do it for 10 seconds at a time and stir it in between each 10 seconds. Because if you get it too hot, it will ruin your chocolate. It will be gooey and lumpy, and there is no saving it if you get it too hot. So if you do it in the microwave, be very careful. I tried some other fats in my chocolate to see if they would work like the coconut oil and the shortening do. I tried butter. Do not mix butter in your chocolate that you want for dipping. It makes it very thick and you can't melt it and get it pourable anymore. I don't know why the coconut oil or the shortening will work and the butter won't. I have not tried margarine. I kind of think it might work, but I'm not sure because it is a vegetable oil and not milk fat. If you've used margarine in it, where I'm using the coconut oil, maybe you could let us know how that works in the comments. I don't have any margarine, or I would try it and let y'all know, but butter definitely does not work. Don't use butter. And I know that you can use both shortening or coconut oil if you have either one of those. And you can see it starting to melt here. I just heated this water before I started this, and I don't even have it on now. But if you bring it to a boil and then set your bowl over top of the pot of hot water, you can see there that it melts it really good. And it will keep it warm while you're dipping your strawberries. I've still got just a few little lumps in there, but I'm going to let it sit there while we talk about our strawberries. Now you want to make sure that you wash your strawberries good and you have them completely dry. It works better at room temperature. So take them out out of the refrigerator a few minutes before you're going to dip them and let them warm up a little bit. They'll sweat if they're super cold, and if they sweat or if they're not completely dry, it'll make your chocolate ugly and it won't be nice and smooth and even, and you want it nice and smooth and even. Also, when you buy your strawberries, and bring them home, if you'll put them in a bowl full of water with just like a tablespoon of regular old white vinegar, that will kill any bacteria or fungus that's on them, and it will make them last longer. So as soon as you buy them, wash them in cold water, a big bowl with a little bit of vinegar in it, and then dry them and put them back in the refrigerator until you're ready to dip them. Now, chocolate dipped strawberries, I've read they will last up to a week in the refrigerator. I dip them the day I'm going to eat them. I don't dip them much ahead of time. You know, you can do it. You could do it the day before if you're doing your Valentine's dinner at home and, you know, you want to get everything as ready as possible the day before, the night before. You could do it the night before and then put them in the refrigerator, but definitely store them in the refrigerator after you've dipped them. You can see, maybe, I hope, how shiny that chocolate is. It's that coconut oil that makes it shiny. And the coconut oil also, I mean, without it, it's not going to be this thin. And it's going to be hard to dip your strawberries. You can just melt the chocolate and dip them, but the coconut oil makes it much, much easier. And I know folks are, you know, not buying anything that they don't have to right now because times are so hard. You can get it at the Dollar Tree. They usually have little jars for $1.25. And if you're doing it, you know, if you're getting it just for stuff like dipping candy, you know, melted chocolate and dipping candy, that would last you a long time, as long as the coconut oil would last. Now, if you've got pretty green top strawberries, which these are not great, they look better. And you can also get the bamboo skewers like you use for barbecuing and stuff, making kebabs on the grill, and put them in the bottom of your strawberries, and you can actually arrange these in a vase and make it look like a bouquet. So that's another idea for you. But just grab a hold of the top and then kind of roll it around in your chocolate until you get it all dipped, coated good. Shake off the excess because you don't want a ton of it running on your paper, and you're going to get some, but that's okay. I don't think a little extra chocolate hurts anything. And you can kind of flatten the top back out there a little bit sometimes. If you get them that are super ripe, like some of these where there's almost no white at the top, they look better dipped. But if you get them that where they're not totally ripe, where you have a little bit of white at the top, well, this one's got a little bit, they'll last a little bit longer. So if you're going to be doing it ahead of time, you might want to look for some that aren't ripe all the way up to the top. You want a little white on them. Well, this one here's got white. I was looking for one and had it in my hand. If they have a little more white at the top, they will last a little longer, but they won't be quite as sweet. And what I do is I just dip it on both sides and then kind of roll it over and dip it. So I kind of roll it 4 times. So I'm getting it coated good and even. And like I said, shake the excess off so you don't have a ton on your paper after you dip it. Now, before you decorate them, you're going to want to put them in the refrigerator for at least 15 or 20 minutes and let your dark chocolate harden up before you put anything, you know, any white chocolate on it. But if you're going to sprinkle some of these colors on it, whether you're going to do the red or the gold, you want to do that while it's hot, while it's still melted, and the little shiny sugars look really cute on them. And like I said, if you go after Christmas, you can get this stuff cheap. And just sprinkle a little bit on it like that. Like, see, this one is already starting to cool down and this stuff won't stick to it. If you're going to do the sugars, different colored sugars or sprinkles, anything like that, and you can do any kind of sprinkle. I just thought, especially for Valentine's Day, the gold and the red with the sparkles in it was pretty. Do that while it's still wet. Like as soon as you take it out of, as soon as you dip it and take it out of the pot, put the sprinkles on it. And they'll stick, and they're not, like, especially the red, you can barely see it. The gold shows up a lot better, but red does not show up well on brown. So keep that in mind when you're decorating it. The white is going to show up much better than once you add the food color and if you try to do some pink stripes, but they will show up. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here and start melting it. And if your chocolate starts to get too thick and you've got it sitting over a pot like this, just turn the pot back on and warm the water up a little bit. Or if you've melted it in the microwave, just put it back in for like 10 seconds and then stir it every 10 seconds until it gets thin again. Okay, I got a few here that I already put in the refrigerator. My chocolate's good and solid. If you want to, before you decorate them, you can kind of trim this excess off. I don't usually worry about it. You need a real sharp knife and just go right around the edge of your strawberry. I think most people don't mind a little extra chocolates. But if you want to make them super pretty, you know, and sit them out on a really nice platter or something, you can trim it off with a sharp knife. Just be careful and go right around the edge of the strawberry. Now this stuff here, you want to make sure you get it really, really melted. And there's a lot of different ways you can put it on. I've seen folks put it in piping bags and put it on. And if you've got a real steady hand, you can put it in a piping bag and you can put it on that way, and you can even write on your strawberries. And you can put little hearts on your strawberries with it and all kind of stuff. But if you're like me and you don't got a real steady hand, or at least I don't today, you can just drizzle it. And usually when you get them, if you buy them professionally dipped, they're just drizzled with the white. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to kind of start on our paper, not over our strawberry. That way, if we get a lump when we start, it's not on our strawberry, it's on our paper. And just kind of sling it real fast. But that's kind of all there is to that. And if you want to make some pink stripes, well, just add you a drop of food coloring to it. Don't get carried away with this, because this stuff don't taste good. And they do have some gel food coloring that doesn't have a flavor to it, and you can get that. But the little bottles like this, you can still get those in the grocery store fairly cheap. And you get 4 colors that you can mix and make about any color. And you can even dye Easter eggs with that. You don't have to buy the Easter egg dye kits. You can do it with your little pack of food coloring. And just put it on the same way. Start on your paper and then do it fast. There. Now that shows up better than I expected it to. So now you know how to decorate your strawberries. You can do a pink drizzle or a white drizzle, or do some little sparkly sugars. The gold shows up far better than the silver and the red. The silver and the red kind of blends in with the chocolate. But it's very easy to do something at home, save a lot of money. This cost you a bag of chocolate chips and the strawberries, and that's it. If you buy chocolate covered strawberries, you're going to probably pay $2 a piece for them this year, which is crazy. So you see how easy it is to make them. You don't need anything special. A pot and a bowl that'll fit over it to melt your chocolate, or melt it in your microwave. Either way, doesn't matter. Just be very, very careful with the microwave. And I really kind of like the pot method better, because you can keep your chocolate warm. And we have a whole bunch of chocolate candy videos. We've got truffles that are super easy, nut clusters. You can even take this leftover chocolate here and make nut clusters out of it. And all you need is some salted nuts, cashews or peanuts, whatever. You could even do pecans or something in there. And I'm going to link that chocolate candy playlist in the end of this video, so you can click on it and you can see all the homemade chocolates that you can make. Most of them very inexpensive, and you use this same dip or the semi-sweet chocolate and the milk chocolate together. It doesn't cost that much to do it at home, and you can make a variety of candies, and it's more special that way. This year especially, take the time to celebrate Valentine's Day. And I know some of y'all are going to say it's one of these made-up commercial holidays, but it's a chance to celebrate the love that you have for each other. Proverbs 18:22, whosoever findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth the favor of the Lord. Now, that goes both ways. If you find somebody that will stand beside you when times are hard, take the time to celebrate that and celebrate the good. You know, it's not infinite. And when things are this hard, you really need to have those special occasions. Fix dinner at home. You don't have to go out, but make that day for each other and celebrate your love for each other and the relationship that you have with each other and all the good that comes from it. Because it is truly better to have two than to be alone. The Bible tells us that, and it tells us that God made us for each other. He saw that man was alone and it wasn't good, so he made a woman. We were made for each other, and we were made to be in committed, loving relationships. The Bible is all full of that. And if we don't take time to celebrate that, it's much more difficult to get through those dark days. Have something that you can look back on and smile when you're struggling to pay the house payment, when the electric bill's past due and you don't know where you're going to get the money from. Celebrate your love. It makes life easier. Take time for each other. I remember Brett used to, when he was mowing the grass, he would always go by the fence and grab a handful of weeds, and he would bring them up to me. And usually I was out working in the yard too and had my hair all tied up and I was all dirty because I was doing something, and he'd hand me this clump of weeds. You know, they were flowers, but they were just weeds growing by the fence. And he didn't even take the time to stop and pick them. He just grabbed them as he was mowing and brought them up to me. I would always put them in water, and he would say, "What are you doing? They're just weeds. Throw them down." But when he would do it, he would tell me that he loved me. And it's those little things that make a difference. When I was out working in the yard and I was hot and sweaty and dirty and he was cutting the grass, but he stopped and told me he loved me, and he brought a fistful of weeds with him to show me. And that doesn't cost anything, but that's one of the memories that I will cherish forever. And you have to make memories that you will cherish. Those memories aren't bought. So even when times are tough, and even when you think there's not enough money to do anything, there's always a fistful of weeds by the fence. I want to wish you all a happy Valentine's Day and celebrate the love in your life. If you haven't already, please don't forget to click like and subscribe before you leave. And until next time, remember to put God first.